This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, hey, big red letters, it's Alex. In the little white letters, it's the Ramble. And we go until midnight tonight from the East Coast of the United States. You know, tonight I had no interviews planned, so I was going to replay an old interview from the past with like either Will Durst or somebody like that. And I said to myself, why do I do that? Because I'm lazy is why I do it. Okay, so anyway, let me just try and bring this over a little bit. I gotta, we're working on this. This is let me see if I can move myself over just a tad here. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, this one. Just wanted to center myself. I want to feel centered. Anyway, I sat here and I thought, what I could do tonight is I could just run one of those old interviews, and then I go to the bathroom and I wash my teeth and I do a whole bunch of things, and then when I come back, there's only about an hour's worth of program left, and I know I can get through that, and so I get through that. And I go, why am I doing this to myself? Why? And then I thought, well, maybe I just start talking. That it's good if I do that. Okay. So anyway, I figured I just I used to spend the first half hour of the show or first 15 minutes of the show talking. All right. And in fact, I used to sometimes talk for a half hour when we did 2 hours. I think we used to do. Yeah, we didn't do just an hour and a half. We did 2 hours. 4 days a week. I think at one point it was 5 days a week. What was I thinking? Well, I'm an old man now, and I don't have that kind of energy in me any longer. I mean, I used to go on every day on the radio, on Sirius XM, and I was on every day, Monday through Friday, for 3 hours. And somehow I got through the 3 hours. Of course, I had Christina there to riff off of and Albert to riff off of. And then I would go to the phones and we talked to those people, and before you knew it, the time was over, and we took a couple of breaks, an hour and a news break and everything, so our actual hour was only about 45 minutes. That was what I did, and I could get through that because I was trained to do that. But as time has gone on, as I get older, I go, gee, I just don't know if I can go for like 15, 20 minutes just talking and spouting out what I feel and so on and so forth. And tonight I went, I really haven't done it in a long time, and I really should do it. Rather than play some interview you've already heard before, I should do it. And I should also invite people that at any point during this half hour you feel like you want to call us, you can go over to GabNet. Over on the right-hand side of the page is a thing that says, click here to Zoom us. And you just click on that, and it will automatically take your computer, take your browser or whatever, over to our Zoom site, okay? And then you can just click on that, and we answer it, and there you go. It's that easy. Just go over to gabnet.net, gabnet.net. It's nice if we could get some new people, too, every now and then. But if anybody wants to call me now, I will be taking calls shortly, okay? So we'll go on a little earlier with it than we usually do. Of course, what I know happens is there are people out there like Alan who don't listen to this show for the first 15 minutes, okay? They just wait till like the time when they can call, and they call, okay? Which I don't blame them, because the first half hour is usually them, just an interview with somebody that I care about and that is a friend and so on. But anyway, if you want to call, you can start calling now, and we'll see what we can do to get you on. And let's see if anybody else does call before the hour. Either that or what I'll do is I'll do like whatever I'm going to do for a show right now, and you and I can just to hear me talk about stuff and everything, and then about 5 minutes before the hour, I'll sign off. And then they'll come here and they'll wonder what was wrong. And I go, nothing was wrong. I just came on early, asked for callers. There were no callers, and I decided to call it quits and go to sleep early. Anyway, I wanted to think about what I was going to talk about tonight to you that bothers me. And the only thing bothering me is what's going on in the Ukraine. I mean, that is just totally pissing me off. What do we do about it? You know, it is so frustrating to sit here as an American and to say, well, you know, what I would do is, you see all those tanks that are lined up down the road going into Kiev, which I used to know as Kiev, by the way, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But Kiev, they're all lined up, and all you had to do is just, you know, take a couple of jet planes and just kind of just splatter the whole road, and you can wipe out about a good 40 miles of the Russian army, just like that. But you can't do that. And why can't you do that? Because the Ukrainians have to do it for themselves, because they're not NATO and they are not under our protection. And for us to go in there when there wasn't a pretense to go in there, in other words, if they were a NATO country, we could then say, well, one of our own has been attacked. We have to get in there and stop it, okay? But we can't do that. And so we're going to sit here and we're going to constantly be bothered by the fact that that this is going on and feel completely frustrated in what to do. Now, you know, we're taking economic sanctions against Russia, and they're pretty harsh. I mean, we know somebody who has family in Russia, and they say that it's pretty hard for them right now because they're trying to send money to them, and they can't because all the ways of sending money from American banks to Russia are completely obliterated. So that's the way it is, okay? And it is so sad, I mean, what's going on there, and the fact that we can't do anything about it. All we can do is these sanctions and getting the whole world to yell and scream about it, and for the UN to say, you're being bad, get out of there. And meanwhile, you've got this guy. You thought Trump was crazy. Now, Trump was crazy. There's no question in my mind about it. Even if he wasn't clinically insane, he had megalomania, which made him insane on his own, okay? But this guy is really crazy. Maybe he wasn't so crazy a couple of years ago, but he is now. And the only thing worse than a dangerous dictator is a dangerous, crazy dictator. I mean, this is a guy who right now I think is living in some kind of delusion that he has this situation in hand. And if you look at it, the Russian army, a lot of the people in the Russian army are defecting to the Ukrainians. And the reason they're doing it is because they feel bad about what's happening. They feel bad about what's happening. Because a lot of them have relatives or friends or people they know who live in Ukraine. And the fact of the matter is that they were told that they were going to that point in the world, that place in the world, as a military exercise. They weren't told they were going to go in and start blowing up civilian apartment buildings. I mean, it's not like they're going after strategic military facilities. They're going after apartment houses. I mean, why? What is that? Okay, you know, and I have something over here. This is kind of interesting. Hold on a second. Let me get it. I should have brought it over here before I did this, but it was only at the last minute that I decided I was going to do my little monologue. Hello, everybody. Let me see here. this is really scary, okay? Russian shells Europe's largest, you ready for this? Hold on, hold your breath, nuclear plant. And they've started a fire. Russian forces pressed their attack on a crucial energy-producing Ukrainian city by shelling Europe's largest nuclear plant early Friday, sparking fire and raising fears that radiation could leak from the damaged power station. The assault on eastern city of Enerdar. Oh, well, forget it. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. But anyway, that city, and it's Zaporli. I can't. I'm sorry, folks. Wait a minute. Let me get out my glasses. I don't think that'll help. Well, here, look at the words here, if you can see them. Can you see them there? There. How do you pronounce that? Zaporizhzhia? Well, anyway, nuclear plant came as the invasion entered its second week, with Russian forces gaining ground in their bid to cut off the country from the sea. Elsewhere, another round of talks between the two sides yielded a tentative agreement to set up safe corridors. But meanwhile, the nuclear plant spokesman, here's another one, Andriy Tuz, told Ukrainian television that shells were falling directly on the facility and set fire to one of its 6 reactors. Oh, this is really bright of the Russians, huh? Got to remember, Chernobyl is in Ukraine, okay? That reactor is under renovation and not operating, but there is nuclear fuel inside, it is said. So that's the sound of radiation right there. I learned that from sound effects school when I was. Actually, you should do it with cellophane, but if you're going to do fire, let's put it on fire. Okay. Anyway, the house is on fire. Anyway, let me see here. Where are we? So this is the kind of thing they do. I mean, it's really horrible and stupid, and it's like he wants to just completely decimate Ukraine. Now, here's the other thing. You say, here's what you're supposed to do. My nose is itching. Gosh, I hate to do these things. Here we go. This is the part that really got to me, okay? Got to me big time. Is that they are also getting close to Chernobyl, which they could very easily. You see, Chernobyl, it was contained kind of, but the radiation was still leaking. And so the only way they could solve the problem is they built this gigantic shell, okay, almost like how could I describe it? It almost was like a blimp, the kind of thing, you know how they used to store blimps in those big half shells, you know, and it looked like that. But what they did is they built it to the side of it. They built this big container. Then they moved it into place and then covered the sides and sealed off the pile completely. And there it sat since the whole event happened many, many years ago. The city is still uninhabitable. Nobody lives there. There are no animals in the area, I don't believe. It's pretty decimated. It is a tribute to Russian technology of the time that didn't believe that you had to contain a nuclear reactor. There was no containment. That's why Chernobyl blew. But anyway, Chernobyl is there, and they've been bombing Chernobyl. Now, so far, the containment of that pile is still intact. But, man, they're playing with fire on that one. And now they're going after nuclear power plants. Don't they have a little thing on their maps that say, oh, there's a nuclear power plant. Better not go there. You know, of course, that'd be a good place for you to move to if they saying, oh, they'd never hit a nuclear power plant. But that's not true. So anyway, it's just what's going on. It's so inhumane. It is so horrible. It just shows how Well, how one crazy guy could probably torch the world. They don't know that he's not going to try and go for other countries now if he gets this one. And maybe that's our reason to go in there. I don't know, but we can't figure out a reason to go in there without starting World War III. Although maybe that's what Putin is betting on, is that we won't want to start World War III, and he has free reign to go in there and take Ukraine. But let me go back to something I wanted to say about Ukraine. It's very hard to say Ukraine. You say, well, Ukraine's very easy to say. I have a very hard time remembering the name. I don't know why. I've got this blank. But anyway, I think of United Kingdom, the UK, and then I go Ukraine. Okay. But you don't call it, are you ready for this? You don't call it the Ukraine. It's called Ukraine. All right? And somebody, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel who pointed out, you call it Ukraine, you don't call it the Ukraine, just like your mother shouldn't call it the internet or the Facebook, you know. It's not the Ukraine, it's Ukraine, and that's it, okay? The second part of this, which is kind of interesting, is when I was a kid, I had one of the first stereo albums that was ever turned out, or hi-fi albums that was ever turned out. It was turned out by RCA, and they had on it a whole bunch of tracks of various things between pop music and symphonic music and so on an LP, okay? And it was an LP, and it was hi-fi. I don't think it was stereo, it was hi-fi. And it had one piece of music on it that I loved. I just absolutely loved. Played it over and over and over again. I don't know why. I don't know what in me, what it brought out in me. But anyway, it was called The Great Gate at Kiev. Okay, so I always knew the city as Kiev because that's the way they pronounced it. When all the classical announcers doing classical music would introduce it, they would say The Great Gate at Kiev, and I always knew the song, the symphony, and I always loved it. So I always called it Kiev. Well, it turns out now that the Ukrainians pronounce it Kiev. The Russians pronounce it Kiev. All right? So it's not proper to call it Kiev now. Kiev, you call it, because you don't want to sound like a Russian. Okay? And that's what you do to keep them happy. Okay? Excuse me. I'm going to have some coffee. Is anybody listening to this rant of mine? I doubt if there's anybody out there. I really doubt it. Let me look here. Let me see. First of all, I got to start it up. Well, there's some people listening to me. Okay. But anyway, what we're doing is terrible. I just don't understand why man does this to man. Well, why? You know, I always had this, I've been saying this for years, okay, ever since I started in radio and doing talk shows and everything, that what I don't understand is if you consider evolution, okay, we evolve, you know, as a species. We lose a tail, and we get maybe a prehensile tail, but some people have a little nub back there, you know, but we evolve. And you would think part of evolution would be that this primitive nature of trying to kill other people or take land by force or do what Putin is doing, we would have evolved beyond by this point. And that as we go on, we should be better and better and better. And we just seem to be we're as horrible as two tribes in the middle of the jungle in prehistoric times. You know, so I mean, it really is amazing that we haven't done anything to improve our way of being. We're still the same primitive assholes we always were. And why a guy like Putin feels he wants to do what he's doing just blows my mind. I can't figure out why. Doesn't make any sense to me. So, you know, I don't know. You know, the other thing I have a hard time with here, I got to tell you this, is talking directly into the camera. because I have so many things in front of me. Like I have a screen here and a screen over here, and I have a tendency to look at them. And when I look at them, I'm not looking at you. So I have to kind of just forget they exist and talk directly at you. And I used to know how to do that in TV, but in TV I didn't. I had monitors to the side of me if I wanted to look at them, but I didn't. I would look at the camera and I would pretend the camera was a person's face and I was talking into the face. I would actually, best way to do it is I would talk to my reflection in the camera, so therefore I could see myself. But anyway, am I rambling? Am I ranting? Am I whatever? But anyway, I just wish that that this thing were solvable. And part of me said, I think I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to go to somehow get into Ukraine and fight with them. What? At my age? Sure, why not? You know, why not use up the old milk in the refrigerator before you open the new carton? All right? And I felt it was strange because I'm very afraid of death and things like that. But the concept of going over there and fighting in that country to save them, okay, seemed to make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, that was something I felt I wanted to do. Of course, I don't have the ability to do it because I have to be here for my next appointment with my urologist. So, you know, that's what happens when you get older. You're tied to your doctor's appointments. Anyway, excuse me, I came over to fight with you here in Ukraine, but I have every 6 months I have an appointment with the urologist. I have to get back to the United States for that. But hold the war. Hold on. I'll come back, but I just got to leave for a while. I don't think they accept that kind of excuse. I don't think getting out of the country would be that easy. Although they say now they're going to be corridors to get out. Anyway, listen, there's nobody waiting out there because they're all expecting that I was playing some kind of recording, and I just decided that it would be fine to go see who is online, and that's just one person, and that's Jeff Stein. Hello, Jeff. Can you hear me? No, Jeff can't hear me.
No,
there he is. Now. There he is. There he is. How you doing, Jeff?
Good.
Yeah?
I'm in Georgia.
You're in Georgia. Okay. So, and you're visiting. You're visiting who in Georgia?
This is my sister.
Oh, your sister. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How is your sister? Younger than you or older than you?
A little bit younger than I am.
A little bit younger than you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know anybody. She's probably looking for a boyfriend these days.
Well, I'm taken.
I know.
Yeah. And I'm too old for her. Yeah. But anyway, you're the only person here. You know, which is fine with me. I'd rather talk to you. No, because people like Alan, they don't even listen to the show until like 11 o'clock. So they wouldn't know if I just started talking a half hour ago, and I was waiting for at least like 2 people to be there to go to the thing, and it's only you, so it's just you and me.
Well, Alan was. We were listening last night.
Yeah.
And the discussion was ridiculous.
What discussion?
From my perspective.
On this show?
Yeah.
What was? Oh, yeah. Because who was with?
Phil.
Because Phil was with us too.
Yeah, Phil was.
Yeah.
And I like Phil. He's a nice person. But you talk to him about politics, holy mackerel, he's crazy.
Well, I have to keep him tamped down a little bit,
I know.
Because he just goes crazy with his belief. I mean, he can't let somebody say something without having his 2 cents worth to say. Okay, and so I'm kind of happy that he doesn't that we only have him one night a week.
Yeah.
And then everybody else can talk.
It must be challenging for you.
Well, I noticed last night you didn't seem to say a single word.
Yeah.
Because
there was nothing to argue with.
Well, also you're kind of you don't want to get in and compete for space.
I mean, I like Phil. He's a very nice person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but his politics are just so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you ask for any justification, and he has Fox TV. That's his only real source.
Well, there are a couple of others, and they're worse than Fox. I mean,
They're worse.
If you think there's anything worse than Fox, yes, there is. There's Newsmax and there's OAN. I mean, what's funny is a lot of these stations that did carry RT, Russian television, don't cover it anymore. Roku used to have the RT channel until about 2 days ago, which I was enjoying watching because I love hearing lies that are almost as bad as Fox. Okay, and they took them off, and so they took them off. But I'll bet I can go on there and get OAN. I bet I can go there and get Newsmax. And the two of them are just as erroneous and wrong as you can possibly imagine. So when you use those as your only news source, you're going to live in a certain world, and believe that, a certain amount of lies are true, because you're going to Fox and you hear the lie, and then you go over to Newsmax and you hear the lie, and you go over to OAN and you hear the lie. And because you don't go anywhere else, like I won't even say MSNBC, like the BBC as an example, which is certainly not a prejudiced source, it becomes a real problem, So, whatever.
I was listening to different sources. It didn't matter where it was, but I hear that in some of the countries in Europe, that they're actually supporting, I can't remember what's the name.
Putin.
No,
No.
not Putin, but the company against him.
What do you mean? You mean Ukraine? Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even say it myself. So the Ukraine.
No, I forget it. It's funny. Maybe it's an old person thing or something. At times I go blank on the name, and I don't know why. I mean, it's so much in the news. It should come to me like, my own name.
It's not a name that I ever remembered in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember Kazakhstan. I can remember, Crimea. I can remember all those things, but Ukraine, I have to kind of like Ukraine. And the way I'm doing it now is I remember, let's say England is the UK, therefore Ukraine. Okay?
Right.
Here's oops.
So
no,
I
no.
don't think I don't think that they're being supported by the very many European countries.
No.
Like, I don't think France is doing much of anything.
Well, France is, is against what Russia is doing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you who didn't in the UN didn't take up sanctions against them. India. India didn't, and I was surprised about that. And Mexico didn't. What did we ever do to piss off Mexico?
I don't know.
Hey, Matt.
What is it?
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, we got Matt here. So now it's a friendly little group here.
Saw you were a little light on the participants, so I thought.
Well, yeah. I signed on tonight, and I didn't run an interview. I just kind of started talking, and I just wanted to see how many people would call. And we just got Kevin. Okay, good. Always love to have Kevin here. Hello to Kevin. Always for the first half minute or so, his picture is like got streaks in it, and then it goes away, and I don't know why. I have no idea. Have you ever figured that one out, Kevin?
No.
Nah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And it only does it here. Because I was on a Zoom call just earlier with the doctor, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's the Russians.
So doctors are still doing Zoom calls, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Saves me a trip to Monterey.
Yeah. Oh, you put your doctor's in Monterey?
Yeah, a couple of them are.
Really? Why in Monterey? Well, how far are you from Monterey? You're not that far, are
About
you?
45 minutes.
Yeah.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd rather go there, but
Yeah. Well, look who's here tonight. Matt Duckworth is here tonight.
there's Matt.
I'm always lurking in the background.
How's everything going on up in Seattle? Is the job doing okay for you?
It's great. Yeah, everything's running smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I work from home, and the mask mandates are lightening up. The 12th, I think, is the big day when the bulk of businesses can relax the
Yeah.
mask.
Are you going to still wear a mask?
I really don't want to. I'm so tired of it.
I know I'm tired of it too, but I think I'm going to keep
Yeah.
wearing them for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
I just rejoined a gym, and they're still wearing them. I was wearing it tonight, and it's suffocating, but they're gonna get rid of that in a couple weeks. So places like that, it's too much when you're heavy breathing and all that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, no,
No, they say it's
I never wanted to go.
say
Well, go ahead. What?
they say it's pretty safe now, so I feel safe enough.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
what if tomorrow they said, "Oops, things are getting worse again"?
Oh, then I gotta put that son of a bitch back on.
Yeah, I guess. Did you see that asshole governor of Florida?
No.
Oh,
Did
I
you,
did. Yeah.
Did you see that? What he did, in case people don't know what I'm talking about, he was giving some kind of, I don't know, speech or something, and he had a bunch of kids in back of him, and they were all standing there wearing masks, right? And he said, "Take those things off. You don't need those." I mean, he was really adamant about it.
Yeah, they're worthless.
They're
Blah, blah,
worthless.
blah, blah.
They don't do any good. You know, take them off. What the hell? When one mother of one of the kids who took his mask off, this black kid took his mask off, and the mother was outraged because she said, "You forced my son to take his mask off, and then he comes home, and I'm immunocompromised. Okay." And you're subjecting me possibly to illness because of your actions. And he was just, it was the way he did it. And then when he went back
kid
to
was
his
that
speech,
now?
he went back to the speech he was going to read, and was going through and going, "My God, I can't stand that." You know, he was getting really snarky about it. Huh?
He's a complete
kid was
asshole.
that
He's a
now?
complete Assleton.
Because I only saw the clip and then they cut away from it. But
Yeah.
which kid was it?
Just some black kid there who
Because the part that I saw was there was a kid over on his, well, looking at the picture on the left side that left his mask on.
uh-huh.
But they didn't say anything about that.
Yeah,
And
well,
I thought,
I didn't-
good for him.
I didn't see any of them take the mask off, but I think I saw the
Yeah,
same
they all
clip you
started
saw.
taking them off, but the one black kid on his right,
yeah, that was the one.
us looking at the picture, it would have been his left.
Yeah.
He left his on.
No, well, there's one on the right that took his off.
Okay, because the one on the left his on. He just kept standing there with his
But,
mask.
I mean,
on.
you know,
Nobody said a thing about
why
that
do-
guy.
why-
I thought he was pretty smart. He probably told.
Why don't you do
"Screw off,
that?"
I'm going to leave it on.
Here's the best way to handle that situation. If you're a decent person, you get up there and you go, "Well, you know, you really don't need those masks anymore, but if you want to keep them on, go ahead. I appreciate your desire to keep them." Okay? But no, he was being dismissive about it, and he was being
He kind
chiding
of
about
mumbled
it.
that, but then he turned around and said, "It's useless anyway," or whatever.
Yeah,
What does he care? Why does he care? It's not his face.
because
I
he's
don't
an
get it.
asshole.
Yeah.
He is an asshole, and he has presidential aspirations. Okay.
Yeah. God help
What's
us.
his name again? I forget his name again.
DeSanto.
DeSantis. Yeah. Oh God, he's a piece of work. But anyway, so how's everything up in Seattle? Besides that, is work good for you?
Yeah, I'm still working from home, and it's good. I mean, it's just really cold here. I mean, for me, California boy, initially was, 40 degrees is cold to me.
Well, what's interesting is that you took a job in Seattle, start a new job, right?
I was in Seattle before I got this job.
You were what?
I moved here and then I got the job.
Oh, you got
But-
yeah.
Yeah, but it's a work from home job anyway. So I
Okay,
could work.
but what I'm
I can live
saying is
anywhere.
it's a work from home job, but do they have an office?
Yeah, but not here. Back east.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know.
But how do you feel about the fact that you don't really get to know your fellow workers, as it were?
It's a little odd. It's all just by video chat, or really just audio chat. We don't
Because
use
there's
video.
a whole socialization that we have in going to work somewhere, and knowing the people we work with, and how you doing, Bob? How's the wife and kids? And things like that. Just the
Yeah.
social nature of a job.
Yeah.
Somebody once referred to jobs as an extended family.
Yeah.
You had your home family, but then you had your work family, and now
Yeah.
you don't have that anymore, and that's got to drive you nuts.
Well, and then because I do tech support, it's nice to be able to just go over to someone's desk and just look at them and show them stuff instead of having to connect to their computer and move the mouse for them remotely and all that. So it would be easier.
Yeah.
But I'm really liking working from home, not to have to pack a lunch. I hardly use any gas. I don't have to drive to work. There's a lot of benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it just depends on the job,
Yeah.
the kind of job you're doing.
Now, let me ask you this. By working at home, do you work as many hours as you would work if you had to go to an office?
I do pretty much.
Really?
I'm just a 9 to 5. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's
Oh,
so
okay.
great. It's so great. I just roll out of bed and I can just log in and I can just start working right away if I want to.
And what do you do exactly? What is the nature of your
It's kind of like a help desk. Helping
desk?
people, training people, have training classes, and so tech support basically.
Tech support. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So it's great from work. I mean, yeah, I do miss some of that. Some of that socializing in the office is nice.
What happened here?
I do.
Everybody was frozen there for a while, for a short time.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just wondering why. Anyway,
Have you guys been watching the fire at the nuclear power plant?
Yeah.
the fire. What do you mean in Ukraine?
Yeah, there's not Chernobyl, another
Ukraine.
one.
I
It's
know.
on fire.
I know. I just read it. I just read about it here.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed the first part of your.
Yeah, I
monologue.
couldn't pronounce any of the places where it was, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah,
the name of the power plant is the unpronounceable power plant. That's my name for it.
Yeah, at this point, I don't care what it's called. I just care that it's on fire.
Yeah. Luckily, they say it is a unit, a reactor that is not operational, but it does have, it is. You could emit some radiation from the thing if you made it explode. A fire
Did they
could
say it
cause
was a reactor?
Huh?
Did they say it? Because I heard it was
Yeah.
a training building.
No, it was. Hold on a second. I'll see what I do with my paper. That's the sound of the nuclear power plant right now.
Either way, it's at the plant. It isn't good.
It's the eastern city of Ener Hodar, I guess. It sounds like something out of Game of Thrones. Ener Hodar. And it's the name of the plant is the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. Well, I held it up before. Maybe you can. Anybody want to try and pronounce that name?
Zaporizhzhia.
Yeah. Who knows?
I heard what's his name, Anderson Cooper, pronounce it about 15 times, and I said, okay, that's how he says it.
Okay, fine. But you didn't learn how to say it yourself, right?
Yeah, I could have. If about 10 minutes ago, I could have said it, but not now.
Yeah. But
I saw a headline that somebody put $1 million bounty on Putin. I thought,
That's
okay, that's a start.
who put $1 million bounty on Putin?
I'm not sure who it was. I think it was some millionaire somewhere. I don't think it's a government thing. It's just.
Let me just say it right now. I'm gonna make almost the same offer. No, I have learned to make a very nice dish lately, which is balsamic chicken, which is delicious. In fact, I just had it about 2 days old, and it was incredible because you know how food kind of after 2 days gets even better. So I had it tonight, and what I'm willing to do is I can't come up with $1 million if somebody will kill Putin, but if you kill Putin, I'll invite you over to dinner. I'll make you some of this balsamic chicken. How's that? Huh?
Quite an offer.
I think it's quite an offer. It's all I can offer, Here was the thing I was saying. Hello, Brian. Here was a question I got for you. This is one of those I was thinking about the other day. My wife is going to part-time at her job for the next 2 years, okay? Working about a quarter of the time, all right, that she does now. Being on call, as it were. Very, very nice of them. But they're doing all their bookkeeping and stuff, which she normally did for them over in China now, or in Hong Kong. So I thought, well, maybe I should go back to work to try and bring some extra income in. And then I went, what the fuck at 82 years of age can I do? Anybody have any suggestions what I could do?
Walmart greeter? Do you have Walmart there?
Well, I knew that was going to be the first suggestion, was going to be Walmart greeter.
I don't know if you have Walmart there.
Huh?
I didn't know if you had Walmart there.
Oh, we have No, we don't have Walmarts in Manhattan. They're not allowed.
Oh, really?
They're not allowed. But I mean, I could go to Costco, I suppose, and be some kind of a greeter there. I don't know.
Like you could be some kind of a consultant, like a media consultant.
Media consultant. They don't exist anymore.
Oh.
Nobody cares about media consultants. I have a friend of mine.
It's just YouTube and TikTok.
I have a friend of mine, Walter Sabo, who's a media broadcast consultant. There are no broadcast consultants left. Oh.
Social media consultants.
A social media consultant? I don't know the first thing about social media. On social
that's
media,
all there is now.
I know. What it is where before, I'll tell you what social media is. In the old days, you used to go and audition for a radio station, and then they would hire you, and then they would pay you a decent wage to work at the radio station. Now you can do a podcast and not make anything. That's where our business is gone.
Yep.
So anyway, so I was thinking about what could I do to earn a living, just to bring some money in. Besides my Social Security and my pension from AFTRA and the $200 a year I make off of YouTube, okay?
I tell you what, go in to be an electrician. I had an electrician over for an hour, and he charged me $300.
Really? Well, maybe I should say I'm an electrician.
Yeah,
right.
Checks.
And I probably can. I think I could. What did you have him do?
All he did was put in a couple of boxes in the wall to hold the wires that were no longer connected to a baseboard heater.
You should go on. They have those apps that you play like bingo and stuff like that, and they make a lot of money.
Well,
you get those commercials on there. The app. Oh, look at this check.
Come on, I'm looking.
All I did was play bingo on this app.
I'm looking for
the opposite end of the spectrum.
I'm looking for real suggestions about what I can do. Now, one of the things I was thinking about is I signed up for this these casting listings for extras.
Yeah.
And I can work 8 hours and make $189 SAG-AFTRA wages. I don't know why SAG-AFTRA thinks that somebody who spends 8 hours doing a job should only make $189, but that's my union. Fuck them. Anyway, so I was looking at this. They were having a casting call for Mrs. Maisel, for people in my age category and so on, and they have one. I saw one today for Manifest and Blacklist. The Blacklist they do it here, and so I might try that. What? How does that sound to you, Ray? You're in that business.
Hey, I have to admit, I've done it. The last one I did was for a new TV show, and they used my car, and that they paid me $100 extra for that, and then I worked 2 hours overtime, and I ended up making like $450 for 6 to 8 hours
Of being an extra with your car.
My car and overtime.
Yeah, some of these ask for people with cars.
Yeah,
but I don't have a car.
Well, they used to rent the cars. Now they just get them from the extras.
Well, I can't remember what show was asking for people to show up and just be pedestrians on Broadway. And it was some show you all know, and I can't remember what it was now. It wasn't Mrs. Maisel. It was something else. And, I might just do that. What the hell? That'd be fun.
Most of Mrs. Maisel's outdoor scenes are shot on the studio down at Paramount Studio. You know how like they have the outside of the comedy clubs. There's like I went down there and had a
Yeah.
tour. I saw where they shot all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do shoot a lot of the exteriors here in New York
Yeah. The second. Yeah. they do.
because the show is very New York centric.
Right, and it's
And
so
I
weird.
and
they
I
shoot
do
the
think I
exteriors
wait a minute
in
I
New
do
York.
think Mrs. Maisel is shot over at the bread studio.
Well, maybe now, but I went and had a tour of the Paramount studio in Los Angeles before COVID, right before COVID, and they showed us where they shot it, and they showed us the front of the comedy club and how they decorated,
Oh really?
make it look
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
Maybe they switched locations.
You
or
know,
maybe
as
they
we were
split it.
watching Mrs. Maisel, I keep saying to Marjorie, "Gee, maybe I could have been in that scene. Maybe I could have been in that scene." You know.
How's your butt crack? You could be a plumber.
I'm being serious. I'm trying to look at a way that an 82-year-old guy can make money. Right?
Oh.
Walk dogs.
Are you kidding me?
That's
I
you gotta
don't
think of a
know.
lot
I
of
just say
shit.
what comes to my mind.
The dogs would be walking me for crying out loud.
Oh, okay.
You know, I mean, come on. You know, it's not that easy. Not that easy.
I mean, I'm 60 and I have a hard time figuring out how to make money.
Really?
I drive kids in the morning to school.
I can't drive. I don't know how to drive anymore. I mean, I'd go buy myself a car and be a Uber driver or something like that. But I just,
God.
I don't have a car. I don't know if I know how to drive anymore. I have no skills left, to be very honest with you. This is the only skill I have, and it's pretty much waning if you listen to the first half hour of the show tonight. So, I tried.
There's so many. There are so many radio personalities who are doing what you're doing right now,
Yes, that's why I can't make any money at it, and
and they don't either.
Huh? They don't
Most
either.
of them don't either.
They don't either. I look at people, and I think that I always say, boy, I don't have a lot of people listening to this, blah, 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 and I bemoan that fact. And then I look at what the amount of people that are listening, watching them, and it's less than me. You know?
Internet. I never imagined the internet would do this to people like you with like all the talent and skill and experience. I never imagined that 30 years ago, 20
Yeah.
years ago.
Well, my newest joke has been, you know what you call an out-of-work radio guy? A podcaster.
Right, exactly.
I mean, anybody can do this, and they're proving that anybody can.
Yeah, look at me.
And I get very mad when I see that CBS goes, well, we have a new podcast from CBS, and I'm going, you have all this power to go get an audience by going on the air and saying we've got a podcast, and I'm trying to compete against that, and they don't even know what podcasting is about. They don't know what this kind of broadcasting can be. All they're doing is, the story of the mysteries are a big deal now in podcasting. You know what that used to be? It was called books. You know.
And true crime.
So I just Googled how can an 82-year-old man make money? Consider rent a grandma. So they must have rent a grandpa. I don't know, that could be good.
Where did I see that? I think it was on Shark Tank.
Grandpa.
I think it was on.
So you want him to be a whore?
No, I think it was on Shark Tank, and they were trying to get money for Rent a Grandma.
There you go. Then they have try international house sitting, sell your photos, get paid for copywriting, sell handmade products online. There you go. Get some craft skills.
Oh yeah, what Esty? I can
Oh,
do
please.
something for Esty.
Yeah. Rent your space.
I
Earn
wonder
cash
if I
from
went to
booking.
Esty and started selling voodoo dolls, would they like that? It's a
I'm sure they
craft.
already do
It's a
that.
craft.
They're probably already. I bet you they have them already on Esty.
You think they have voodoo dolls on Esty?
Probably. As I said, rent your space. You can rent your extra space on Airbnb. You got a big place there. There you go.
Yeah, I could rent
But,
the guest room. Yeah.
But Alex, do you want to work because of that you're bored, or do you need the money?
I'd like to bring in some more money. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel I've been sloughing off enough. It's been 8 years or 9 years. How long has it been? 8 years since I left Sirius XM. And maybe it's time for me to, or maybe it's been 9 years. Anyway, it's time for me to get back to working. But if I
You could work at a national park. Actually, I was just at Yosemite, and they had a bunch of people in their 70s and 80s working there,
yeah,
and they're hiring.
I guess you could be a
Yeah.
docent or something like that, right? You
Yeah.
know what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had your hand up, Jeff. Now Jeff might have.
Yeah,
an
I
idea.
thought about two things for you.
Uh-huh.
One is potentially to be a librarian.
A librarian. It's very good. If I read books, that would be good.
There's libraries right down the street of you, right? You don't have to go too far, and you could help some of the kids. Who
I wonder how well
need
libraries.
some help.
But I wonder how well libraries are doing these days.
I have a friend going to school for that. You have to get a degree in that. You can't just
You have to
become
get a
librarian.
degree in librarian.
It's yes.
What is
You can't just apply. You can't just kind of go in and say, "Yeah, I want to work here." Yeah.
Well, here are the various courses we have that you can take. There's 101.
Put the book back in order.
Yeah, right. And I got to tell you, as a person who would work in a library, I still don't know what the Dewey Decimal System is all about.
Oh yeah.
Has anybody here ever been able to figure out the Dewey Decimal System?
Yes, I took a library class when I was in college, and
Really?
I did learn it.
Does it make any sense?
It does.
It does.
Really?
It does. It's actually not that hard. Once you sit down and spend a half hour.
Well, wait a
figuring
minute.
it
There's
out.
a great podcast explaining the Dewey Decimal System.
Like anyone uses it anymore.
It-
What if you become like in a
Well,
yoga instructor?
libraries
online?
still use the Dewey Decimal System. They haven't gotten away from that.
Yeah, that's true. It's all electronic.
But I guess what, Jeff?
But the other one that I think is probably the best for you would be the sales guy on the phone.
Oh, good.
Ah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're
Oh,
a
that
great
hung up on him.
communicator.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it says consider blogging.
Grow mushrooms.
Consider
Look
blogging.
into mystery shopping.
What?
Mystery shopping.
What's mystery shopping?
New business owners. I don't know. You go.
My aunt used to do that.
Mystery shop?
You get put onto a, you get hired by a group, I guess, or a marketing company or whatever.
Yeah.
And you go in and you go shopping at stores, and then you rate them, and then they pay you.
Honest feedback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
honest
Mystery
feedback.
Shopper
Go into, like,
Providers
Macy's.
Association.
You go into like Macy's and you buy some stuff, and then you rate how your experience was of the cashier, and whether the store was clean, and whether the clothes were in order and shit like that. And you keep the merchandise, and then you get paid to do that.
Maybe I could do what these girls are doing now, makeup tips.
There you go.
What about drug dealer?
Hey, how about
Hey, you know something? Why not
I got
combine
it.
two hobbies?
What if you grow shrooms on the roof and sell them?
no? I think you should do manscaping online.
Yeah, look into national park gigs. That was mentioned. Somebody brought up that. Yeah.
Here's one that I'm.
Well, see, I would
I'm
do very
serious
well.
about.
I would have done very well at manscaping on the internet if it weren't for the fact that I've had them attack my prostate with much vigor. and really, there's nothing to see down there any longer. In fact, I have to go looking for it.
Paid surveys site is called Cash Crate.
We're on the same website, Brian.
Oh, really? Yeah. Write songs online.
Oh, so what we're saying is there's
Careful, it'll
only
crash.
one website for this.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing these. There's 60. There's 60 of them, though. Yeah.
Here's one that I'm this one I'm serious. English as a second language. You could teach. You'd be good at it. I don't know if you'd like it, but my neighbor did it until
Well,
the day I had to drive her to the hospital when she
The
broke
way
her
he
hip.
slaughters it, probably Phil could,
Yeah.
offer a course in English as a second language.
Yoga instructor.
the same website.
Well, this is not helpful. Did you
Become
raise
a
your
DJ.
hand? Did Jeff raise his hand there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they do have the movie extra one. Yeah.
The movie
And
extras.
let your star quality shine by signing on as a movie extra. Movie extra pays little than 80 hours. Blah 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 blah.
Well,
How about
I'm
if you pan for gold?
well. I see. I'm after it, and let's see. At $182 an hour, if I work how many hours a year, I can get insurance for my union again.
$180.
Do the extra hours count towards our hours?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's how much you earn in a given amount of time. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I made it. I now get my SAG-AFTRA membership free every year because I have senior status. Isn't that wonderful? It's wonderful that I'm able to have senior status in my union for a job that won't hire me any longer. That really is great. What is that?
Do you have a pension?
I got another one of these things in the mail.
Well, you see, ARP is something I joined it when I was in my 40s. It was my business manager hit me to it and said, there's some good things you could get out of it, And as it turns out, I've been a member of ARP for, since George Washington and I were the first people on ARP.
I thought you had to be 50.
Oh yeah. No, you don't have to be 50. You can.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. No, you can join it. I think at any age, can't you?
I'm only 35. They're sending me this stuff already.
Yeah. You're 35.
Ooh, welcome to the 50s club.
If anybody out there who's listening to me has a job for me in the New York City area that doesn't involve any heavy lifting, I'm here. I'm yours. I'm your bitch.
What about pet sitting?
Pet sitting.
They had their cat for a while, right?
Sure.
Pet sitting's easy, fun, companionship.
But do I have to go to their house to pet sit?
No, that would suck.
I mean, if they want to bring the pet over here, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, that would be.
I just saw a thing. Now I don't know. See, I mean, it's years since I've had a cat, but when that cat was staying with us, she started to tear up our furniture. Okay.
Oh.
Right? It made a great scratching post. And I saw a thing on TV the other day. It's like some electronic device that you buy, that you put in your house, and it will make your cat not want to scratch the furniture.
Huh.
Or be destructive in that. Has anybody heard of this?
Nope.
Do you have a pet, Kevin?
Yeah.
What do you have?
Cat.
What kind
I
of
got
cat?
one now. The other one died.
What kind of cat?
The kind with fur.
One of those.
You don't have one of those Chinese furless cats?
No.
Marjorie, whenever she sees those cats go, I can't stand that. That's scary. And I think, that's the cat I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a tabby.
It's a tabby. Okay. Yeah,
Mutt.
Running around looking for my glasses and they're in my pocket.
How old is Warren Buffett? He's 80 something.
You are 50.
He's 85, something like that.
Well, why don't you just do what he does?
Why doesn't he give me a job?
That's a good question.
You know.
He could actually give you a job.
Yeah,
Well, ask him.
Maybe I should write Howard Stern and see if he wants to hire me to do something.
That would be hilarious.
Well,
He might no, but he might act. He's a nicer guy these days. I listened to him the other day. He's not an a-hole anymore. I was really surprised. I didn't know that.
Phil just sent me a note. You have a future in floor covering sales. Phil, I might take you up on it.
You could be the East Coast representative.
Yes, right. Oh man. I just don't know what you do when you get older. I mean, thank God. She's got a house she got a condo, for instance, that you can sell for like $400,000 or something, and that's in the pocket. We have that as a backup, for money and stuff. So we're not hurting for money. It's just that I thought to myself, I haven't contributed to the welfare of this relationship in many a year. Not that I haven't wanted to. I mean, for the first year or so, I was looking for work, actively looking for work. And then I realized what a absolutely ridiculous notion that was. Because I went to WOR, one of the biggest AM radio stations in New York City. At least if I mention WOR to anybody, you know the name, right? Right, Jeff?
Sure.
Yeah. And if there were other people here from New York, the name WOR is gold, or was gold. And I went to them and I worked for them, right? And did a little part-time thing to show them what I could do, And then I worked for them another time because it was New Year's Eve and they needed somebody to take over. And so I did my show there with Albert actually producing the show for me because he was working as a producer there at the time. And guess how much I got paid? Anybody?
0.
I've yet to see a check.
No kidding.
0.
Now, wait a minute. I don't get this because to begin with, it is a union station, but they never called to say, hey, where do we send the check? And I had worked for WR on several occasions earlier, many years ago, taking over for certain people while I was working at Sirius XM. And they'd call me and say, where do we send the check? And I'd get $300 for, a 3-hour shift. But, what, I'm going to go back into radio and they're not going to ever send me a check? Come on. Plus, don't get me
here
into that
on
again.
KGO, like the biggest, whenever anybody starts to get a following and they want more money, they just fire them.
Well, KGO, which was once the #1 station in San Francisco for something like 35 years,
Oh, yeah.
is now number 30 or 25.
It's a joke.
Yeah, it went into the toilet.
I think Chip Franklin asked for a little bit more money and Cumulus just showed him the door.
Yeah, and what's got to really piss off KGO and all those other people who have radio stations is, what do you think the #1 radio station is in San Francisco?
KNBR?
No?
The Mexican station.
Nope.
That might raise a lot of things.
No. KQED.
Really?
Yeah.
And KQED is
Not profit.
non-profit. So, a non-profit radio station is #1.
Except those people probably make a really good living.
Probably not, because they're just simply living off subscriptions.
Yeah, but so many of the people who work there have been there forever.
Yeah, but they're not making big bucks. They're not making
No.
I don't think to this day, right now, they're making the kind of money I made when I was at Live 105 in its heyday.
Right.
No,
I know you made good money.
Yeah, I made very good money for the time. So I don't think anybody's making close to that there, But they go, huh? What?
Didn't you explain to us once that now the radio stations, they just pre-record everything and it's all canned and everything?
Well, I think what I probably was explaining was the thing called voice tracking. And what happens is you're listening to an announcer in Des Moines, okay? And here's his show, and hi, this is so-and-so, and here's the music by blah, 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 and, and you're listening to it. You don't realize that the voice was done in New York City. Okay?
Yeah. That's what was always so great about your show. You had that feeling of an event, a live event.
Well, people now have the ability to just make these things sound like they're in your local neighborhood, it's coming from your local station, but no. And then they have one person do voice tracking and they send it out to like 20 of their stations. So that's 20 people who are out of work.
And I'll tell you, it sounds like that to me.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, it's
I don't know anyone that even listens to I haven't listened to radio in like
Well,
10
why
years.
would you want to listen to music radio, for instance? Let's say you like country and western. Let's just say that country music. Hell, you've got enough country music sitting on your iPhone to keep you happy for the rest of your life. You know, I have no reason to turn on a radio station and listen to music and then be inundated by commercials. When I can just put on my iPhone, listen to what I want to all day long.
That's what drives me crazy about KGO. I still like listening to a couple of people, but there's so damn many commercials now. Like, I just get sick of it.
Well, the part that was really funny when I did this thing at WOR, I love telling the story because Albert, the second time I did it, was my producer on the show. He worked as the producer on it. And he said, okay, 2 minutes to commercials. Okay, and I'm hearing that in my earphones, and I keep going. And finally, commercial time. We'll be back right after this. And the commercial break starts playing. How long do you think that commercial break was? Each of them?
4 minutes.
Somewhere around 7 minutes.
Ugh. God.
And then they would come back to me. Okay, blah, 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 blah. 2 minutes to commercial break. There were 4 commercial breaks in the hour, and they were all anywhere from 6 to 7 minutes apiece. And I'm going, why would anybody listen to this? What I'm going to say, stick around. We're going to do something after the break, and they're going to stick through it? No, there are already 10 other radio stations. You know? That's what the problem with radio is. My answer was, in the old days, we used to run about, at a certain point, I think when I started at Live 105, and I started doing my shows, that we did about 8 minutes worth of commercials an hour. Okay? And, or maybe it was 12. Let's say it was 12. Okay, just for grins. And I didn't pay attention to anything. I just came in, did my show, made everybody laugh, went to commercial breaks, went out and took a pee, got a soda, got a coffee, came back, did more show, and whatever. And as time went on, I started to notice that there was less of my show and more of the commercials. And so one day, where I had been oblivious to this, I said, how many minutes of commercials are we running every hour now? And somebody said, 21 minutes. And I went, what? And all of a sudden I suddenly said, the ratings on this show have been going down. What it was is they were so hot to make money off my show because it was the highest rated, second highest rated show in the mornings in San Francisco, that they started plugging more and more commercials in there. And it suddenly, the ratings started to hurt, and I didn't know why. And it turned out there were too many goddamn commercials.
I'll tell you, there was many times when I was, we used to listen to you when I was loading my trucks in the warehouse.
Yeah.
And we'd load our trucks, and I would sit there, and you would be, going with the guys, and then you'd go to a commercial break, and the last thing I would do was get my shit ready before I'd go into the truck, and I'd always want to, we'll be right back, and I'd be getting ready to do something, and going, okay, he's not back yet, okay, do something else. And it would take forever, and I said, fuck it, I'm getting in the truck and I'm leaving.
Yeah.
It was always, you could always time it, and I know that happened because I remember that.
Yeah.
And there were certain things like you would do, go take your leak or whatever. You could get this, and this done during the break, and then you'd come back, and it got longer and longer.
Well, I noticed that. That was what was so terrible about it, was that the commercials started to just take over the show, and
make a delivery during a break.
It was kind of my fault too, because I didn't realize that was happening. I was so oblivious to it, partially because half the time I was high on coke, but because that's the only way you can do a show in the morning. Come on,
Yeah.
But I was just oblivious to it. And I suddenly one day I just said, that was an awfully long. How many minutes of commercials are we running an hour? And somebody went in and counted on the commercial log how many. And they went, we're running 21 minutes worth of commercials an hour. And I went, oh. And
It's funny because there was times when I would shoot out, make a delivery, and shoot back, and I'd be just making the commercials done, right? But then there was times as time went on, I'd get out, make the delivery, and come back, and I'd still be waiting for 2 more commercials.
Yeah. And then
back in the truck
and then what they would say to me in like the last hour of the show, they wanted me to do play music, more music.
Yeah.
And I told them, go screw yourself. You're taking all this time for commercials. You know what? And then you're going to play music. How much time are we going to have left for a show?
Yeah,
and
I remember those.
And nobody's listening to my show because of all the wonderful music I play.
Right, and they cut short the comedian's time and everything else.
Yeah.
Was this at Live 105 or Cameo or?
Mostly at Live 105.
Mostly at Live 105.
Yeah, I
that
think
happened.
so because
Yeah.
I remember KML. You go on for they didn't have a lot of commercials.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I liked was that the only commercials I liked was that they sold me when I did a live read for a commercial on the show. The products would really sell. The advertisers were lined up wanting me to do a live read for their.
Yeah, sure.
And basically because I put down their product. That was part of the joke, okay? You know, I mean, I used to sell the Vermont teddy bears by saying, you know, buy your girlfriend a Vermont teddy bear. It's the best way to say I'm sorry.
1, 2, 3,
What?
4.
I bought a
I think
few.
I've got a box of them, Alex.
You did a great job with the Vermont teddy bear.
Yeah, well,
I've got
but
probably-
my favorite thing I used to say was, buy the Vermont teddy bear. It's your way of telling your girlfriend, I'm sorry I had sex with your best friend.
I probably got 15 of them in this house.
Yeah. I got that many. They used to send to me constantly.
And
Yes,
then she would send them to me, and I'd go, "What the fuck you been doing?"
yes, Jack.
Hey there. Heard this conversation and reminded me of something. When we were in Houston, you were at the big Top 40 station.
Yeah.
I was at one of the pre-urban stations serving the black market.
Mm-hmm.
And our commercial, I counted up our commercial load one day. I was doing afternoons at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were running 18, 19 minutes an hour.
Yeah.
67.
Yeah. Well, AM stations used to run that many, but FM stations only ran about 8.
Sure.
at one
You know,
point.
at KMPX.
Oh,
when,
look there. There it is. I have one like that. What does it say on the back? Blues Hog. Yeah. Oh, they were a great teddy bear too. I got to tell you.
Oh yeah, they're well made.
You know, and then some guys came along and bought the company. I had the guy on who came up with the Vermont teddy bear, and he was the sweetest, most just kind of this weird little, like, he was Willy Wonka is what he was. He was strange, and he just loved his bears and stuff. And I liked the guy. I thought the world of him. And then he sold the company, and the whole business went downhill. I mean, you know.
Suckers would ship overnight.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
great.
They'd be there overnight. They had holes in the boxes so they wouldn't suffocate and everything.
Yeah,
Matt had his hand up. Matt.
Well, you know, now that you mentioned that, you kind of pioneered that whole concept, didn't you? Then, because they do that on podcasts all the time.
What?
But you were kind of the first that did that, where the host reads the ads.
No. They had a lot of people did live reads.
Oh,
but,
really?
But
Okay.
I did kind of live reads where I was almost endorsing the product, you know, and I would sell.
But it wasn't ad. It wasn't an ad, though, right?
It was an ad, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's kinda
absolutely. But
ad
here's the
lib
thing.
ad.
Here's what I loved about doing those live ads. I did so well at moving product. Sponsors were jumping over each other to have me do live commercials for them. And I finally decided when I renegotiated my contract, I wanted $50 a read. In other words, per spot every morning that I would do. They started loading these things up with two of my live reads an hour, okay? Over a 4-hour show. I made a lot of money every year. I made about $50,000 to $75,000 doing just live reads, you know. So I didn't mind us having too many commercials then, but you know, I mean, it's just It just, I just, one day I woke up and I said, it's too many commercials, you know, and they went, well, we got to make money off your show while the show, you know, I said, wow.
But you always made them funny, so I didn't really even think of those as ads now that you mention it.
Well, that was
know?
part of it, you know.
Yeah.
And every one of them, I made fun of the sponsor.
Yeah.
And people said, well, what do the sponsors put up with it? I said, I explained to the first sponsor who complained about me doing that to their product that they're going to look like a good guy if today I kid their product, I almost savage their product in some ways, and the next day they're still there advertising. They look good. Yes, Jack.
Hey, Alex, do you remember the first guy to do that on television? And
Milton Berle.
No,
It was Henry Morgan.
Henry Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Not Milton Berle?
No.
No, Henry Morgan, who, what was it, Florsheim shoes or something? I wouldn't be caught dead in them.
Yep.
Yeah, and the advertiser said,
And they
goodbye.
loved it. The client loved it.
Good friend of mine, or a guy who was a good friend of mine, no longer is a friend of mine, David Feldman. His godfather was Henry Morgan.
Ah.
Yeah.
When you said Godfather, I immediately thought about my old boss.
Well, no, his father. You see, what his father was Chester Feldman, and he was the producer of a lot of the Goodson Todman shows, and so that's where he got to know Henry Morgan, and Henry Morgan became a friend of the family. And when he was born, they made him Godfather.
Last night on the intersection, we got to talking about Betty White. And, showing our age once again, I was reminded that I first saw Betty White in 1956. And she'd already been doing television for years when she got her first national show.
Yeah.
So maybe there's still hope for me and you.
Well, maybe there is. It's funny. Betsy Palmer was a good friend of their families, and I met her at David's wedding, and she came on to me, and I would have.
You would have.
I would have, yeah. Except that my girlfriend was there with me.
Isn't that always the case?
But I had fun years later saying, you do realize that, what do you call it? Jason's mother came on to me because she played Jason's mother in the night. What was it? What were those movies? I can't remember which.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, yeah. But anyway.
Well, the only person of note that ever came on to me, I was working at a big band station, playing Sinatra, Tony Bennett, that kind of stuff. And I got an interview with Peggy Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And the publicity guy warned me, Peggy Lee is a dirty old lady. And Peggy Lee comes on to me, and she had to be old enough to be my mother, maybe even older. And all I could think of was, I've gotten so old that a woman who's in her 80s thinks that I am a toy boy.
Ooga.
Yeah.
Thinking about things with TV, you know what's on? I think it's not Netflix. It's Amazon Prime this weekend. Is
the Lucy thing.
The Lucy
and
thing.
Desi thing.
Yeah. I thought it was good, but if you didn't
No. This is
backstory-
not the Being the Ricardos. This is an actual documentary.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime though. I think it may be on something else. I think it may be on.
It may be on Paramount.
Either
Being
that or
Ricardo's is on Amazon.
HBO Max. Yeah, HBO Max or something like that. But yeah. And then also this weekend in England, if you can somehow get it, they start the 3-season series with the Prime Minister of
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Of some country.
Ukraine.
Ukraine. It's not
The
Ukraine.
Ukrainia.
Ukraine.
No, Ukraine.
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 Ukraine for I crane
Crane.
for you.
We
scream.
all crane for I crane. I don't know.
Hey,
Hey,
so
see you at the top of the hour.
is this on Netflix? That show?
What that the
Yeah, the Ukraine president show.
No, it's in England on BBC on Channel 4.
Oh, okay.
It,
Just have to get the right.
It was a 3-season series that he did called something. I can't. A Servant of the People or something like that, and it's about the president of Ukraine. He plays the president of Ukraine. This is before he became president, and it's a 3-season series, very short run series per season, but it's they're trying to sell it over here. So we'll see if it comes over here. So Matt, everything's going good with you, right?
Everything is going good. I've just been watching the horror on television the past week.
Yeah,
That.
yeah. That you know, I wake up every day and I just
Scary.
One man is holding the world hostage.
yeah.
It's worse than Hitler.
And what I keep thinking of is, could Hitler have risen to power in these times with all the technology we have now, and we haven't been able to track what he was doing?
Apparently,
It's fascinating.
No, what he would have become, what he would have become was president of the United States. That's the problem. You know, I mean, think about Trump and think how close we've come to that kind of erosion of our democracy here, and that's still possible because there are the people out there to vote for him.
all it would have taken maybe is Mike Pence not to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, like I've said before, my mother-in-law went through all that stuff in World War II, and what's happening in Ukraine is what she went through coming out of Germany.
Yeah.
Did you hear they're like tossing bombs near those nuclear reactors?
Well, they are.
Yeah, they hit it.
They hit it.
What a that is just, oh my God, I can't even believe
What does he
it.
think
It's
he's
like my childhood
accomplishing?
nightmares are
I
coming
mean, does he
true.
want to just have a wasteland there? Is that his concept of winning? You know,
It's crazy.
The guy's out of his mind.
Yeah, he really is. Totally.
Sorry to change the subject. I know we're gonna leave, but you know Mike Aiello, Alex?
Mike Aiello?
He started posting your show from Live 105. He's got like 3 of them I see right here. He just started posting like a month ago, 3 weeks ago.
Where? Where's he
On
posting?
YouTube.
Recorded episode?
Alex Bennett Show Live 105 KITS San Francisco, August 31st, 1990. And then there's another one on here he just posted 3 weeks ago from January 7th, 1991. And there's another one from December something. Yeah, he just started posting these like 3 weeks ago.
And where's he publishing them? He's not doing it
On YouTube.
on YouTube. Well, I maybe have to put an end to that.
Yeah, they're like an hour and a half. No, don't yet, because I want to listen to them when I drive to Lodi.
Well,
that's an hour and a half.
I listen to my weekends here. I run them all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, anyway, that's it. There goes our theme. And I want to thank you, Matt, for being here with us. Very nice of you. Jeff, thank you for being here before anybody was. Thank you, Kevin, for being here. You were right in there, and so was Brian, and so was Ray. And then Alan was late to the club, but, thank you for joining us as well. Everybody, why don't you give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? Okay, there they go, folks. Wait a minute, I got to get my hand in here. There we go. Okay, that's it for tonight, folks. Let me just get rid of the people on our Zoom call. Hopefully tonight, Jack will be able to do his show without any real problems. But we'll be waiting here to help him if he has any problems. In the meantime, I'll see you again tomorrow night. It's our Friday portion of the show. We'll see you at 10:30 Eastern Time. And until then, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? And by the way, just a reminder to get vaccinated and get a booster. And if you don't, wear a mask. And if you don't wear a mask, Stay the hell away from me, please.